podcast excellence since 2005. This is the King of Podcasts Radio Network, kingofpodcasts.com.
It's 2025. Do me a favor. Go on your phone right now and uninstall all those dating apps. I mean, just do it.
We are all a little depraved and debaucherous. Here is the King of Podcasts.
Welcome to the program. Third episode of the series for the year 2025. Thanks for listening in. Kingofpodcasts.com is the website and where all of my musings are at for all of my programming, including this program, which, I'm grateful for all of you that decide to go and listen to this show on a regular basis. So we're going to kind of reset back a little bit. I know we talked about Bonnie Blue and some real depraved, debaucherous, 1,057 men in 12 hours kind of stuff. Yes, I know. When we talk about Lily Phillips and Bonnie Blue, of course, the numbers just blow up. And I know, hey, if it's porn, basically, yeah, people get really into it. But we're not going to talk about that tonight. I want to get back into where it really comes from. The real origination of what this podcast was about. So when I first started this show is when I'm not podcasting. It was more talking about everything. But one of the subjects that I talked about a lot was dating. Because it was something I was really cared about. And the reason I care about it so much is because I've been chronically single. It is by choice. For a long time, I really didn't let myself realize that. But it's true. I could have been in some really toxic and bad and unfulfilling relationships. And maybe I would have been okay with the fact that, well, at least I have this attractive partner with me and I like her and all this and that. But I'm not going to get anything in return. And I'm going to just be run over and who knows, I'll probably get cheated on or she'll go on to somebody else and it'll just quickly fizzle out. But it was always about the fact that I didn't want to do what everybody else did. Once I got into college, I wanted to be a nonconformist. I did not want to just play along the same game that everybody else does. And so I tried not to. And in all my years of research, my own self-improvement, my own self-development, my maturation process, from 16 years old all the way to today, I had to think about what it was for me that I wanted to make better about myself. And one of the things I've thought about that when I decided to write out what it was that made me think about, well, it was a girl I was talking to recently. And it's somebody I met off a site. Just talking. And in the discussion, I got to go back and look what I got on the text to be able to remember that. But like I said, there was a text conversation, not on the phone. But she was asking how I felt. Asking about me and asking about why didn't I go ahead and work on myself, when I always wanted to go ahead and be there for a woman. Why not focus more on myself and my needs? She asked me this great question. What do you feel is acceptable for dating and how is it different when you compare it to a woman's perception? That's what she asked me. Great question. So I'm going to answer that. I answered it with her on text, but I decided to rewrite it with the help of AI, of course, to write something different. I wrote it into an article that I want to go and read to you today. So the title that came up with was, Are Modern Beauty Standards Leaving Women Emotionally Scarred? A Growing Disconnect Between Self-Expression and Self-Acceptance. So here is what's being said. Now, the dating landscape has undergone a dramatic shift in the past 2 decades. I'm saying in the last 20 years, it's changed. And for those of you that are older, that remember what it was like dating without social media or without smartphones, totally different. It was really important to really physically meet or to be on the phone and actually talk on the phone. So real personal interaction, energy from voice or from in-person contact. It's the only way it can be done. Now, while social media and evolving cultural norms have empowered women in many ways, I argue that these changes have also created a breeding ground for insecurity and unrealistic expectations. We know that social media causes this. The evolving cultural norms is the festering, the continuation of creating an independent woman from the belief of feminist ideology. Okay, that's all it is. Going back to the 70s, bring ourselves some 50 years plus later, and what happens is we continue to have these standards change and become more filtered and become more strict and skewed. And it's not helping women. I know it isn't. So I'm quoted here, 20 years ago, dating was simpler. Women weren't bombarded with images of filtered perfection and weren't pressured to conform to such narrow beauty standards. The sentiment is echoed by many men who find themselves navigating a dating world where expectations seem to have dramatically shifted. So I observed this. It feels like there's this pressure on women to constantly modify their appearance. Extreme hair colors, tattoos, piercings, cosmetic procedures. It's like they're trying to become someone they're not. While self-expression is undoubtedly important, the question arises, are these choices always truly empowering? And then we go into the idea of the rise of body modification and its psychological impact, which is something I've talked about. And people have asked me in comments on these programs about what I'm talking about here. Give me some facts, some stats that go along with it. Okay, well, I'll give you some of those. There are studies that suggest a complex relationship between body modification and mental health. Because of the type of woman I'm attracted to. It might not be everyone else's cup of tea. For me, I like to say that I don't have such a filter on women. And the reason why I don't is because I don't think it will come down to the fact that if I find the most beautiful girl, that she's going to be the one that fits what I'm looking for. And I've been around long enough and I've not compromised long enough to say to myself, well, I'm going to just keep looking for this girl and see if maybe I can find her. Maybe it's a unicorn. And if that's okay, I will go to the end saying, I want to be with who I want to be with. Otherwise, I'll stay single. Maybe as I gotten older, it would be different if things were the way they were 20 years ago, but it's not like that anymore. It's much different. A 2012 study published in the journal Body Image found that people with multiple tattoos were more likely to report higher levels of body dissatisfaction and self-esteem issues. A 2020 article in the Lancet Psychiatry highlighted the potential link between body modifications and self-harm, and suggesting that for some, it can be a way to manage emotional distress. So this raises concerns for people like me doing this program about the current cultural climate, encouraging women to embrace their natural beauty or pushing them towards constant self-alteration. Then there's more talk about when it comes to social media, the pressure to conform. And trust me, influencers are definitely putting out there. Because I can see it myself. When I look at my TikTok feed, look, there's girls dancing all the time. You can't miss those, along with the nostalgic stuff I see on my TikTok feed, or various sports clips, or political, or whatever else. There's always going to be dancing women on there. Beautiful girls on here. Oh, listen, when I see the song Push to Start by Tala being danced by these girls, every one of them is beautiful. I mean, I don't think there's one ugly girl that has even danced to that yet. I have not seen it. And I feel like 1,000 videos of girls doing the same dance to Push to Start. But it's like, when you see that many young, beautiful women on a For You page like that, or even on Instagram or wherever else, then you start getting the delusion. As guys, of course we get the delusion. These kind of girls are all around us. And in a way, I feel like there is when I look around and I'm out and about and I'm people watching. I do see quite a few beautiful women that kind of fit the same mold. But it's not everyone. Social media's influence on body image is undeniable. Filtered photos, curated lifestyles, the constant comparison with others can fuel feelings of inadequacy. A 2017 survey by the American Academy of Facial, Plastic, and Reconstructive Surgery found that 55% of facial plastic surgeons reported seeing patients who were seeking procedures to improve their appearance in selfies. A report from the Dove Self-Esteem Project said that 85% of girls have used a filter or editing app by age 13, distorting the perception of real beauty. Remember when we first had it with Snapchat and Instagram, not even 10 years ago, there were all these filters on there, birds and all these other things you could put up on your face. But it leaves a lingering effect of like, well, women don't want to be seen in a certain way. They can just use the filters for whatever it is. The constant exposure to idealized images can lead to a disconnect between how women perceive themselves and reality, leaving them feeling pressured to conform to unrealistic standards. And so for me, it's about, I just want someone just to be who they are and not feel like they have to go and play a game or feel like they have to go and act a certain way, perform, or just give off a certain thing before they allow themselves to be totally honest and transparent and real to somebody. I don't think I ever get a girl that really makes me feel she's real with me and authentic and natural in every way. It's what I want. Like, peel back the veneer. Give me just who you are. Natural. Give me a girl that just woke up right out of bed. Here is what it is. No makeup, nothing. Let me find her beautiful. And she's happy to see me. And she expresses it as such. I don't know if that's too far-fetched or if that's asking for way too much. I'm asking for women to be minimal. And there are a lot of guys that like that too. But then they're also saying, well, a woman's going to go through the trouble of making herself look beautiful in her own way, take the makeup, take the outfits and all this, and we go along with it. Still beautiful in every way, but like, it's what they want. It's for them. It's not for us, but we can appreciate it. While self-expression is crucial, experts emphasize the importance of self-acceptance making informed choices. So it's essential for women to feel beautiful and confident in their own skin. That's my point. I want women, and I don't care if you're hearing it from somebody else, a different opinion. You got to be able to find that you're beautiful and confident in your own skin. Body modification should be a personal choice, not a response to societal pressure or means to fix perceived flaws. So we've talked about that before. If a woman wants to change her hair color, ink piercings, okay. I know not every girl's going to fall, is not going to even want to like hear where I'm coming from, and that's okay. Plenty of girls are going to do that. But part of it is, it's got to be their choice. I want it to be their choice. I don't want it to be because of some kind of trauma they've gone through or issues with self-expression, acceptance, insecurities that feel like there are all these changes that have to be made. So society evolves. We're going to continue to deal with this. It's crucial to encourage women to embrace their individuality and make choices that reflect their true selves, fostering a culture of self-love and acceptance. And for guys, we need to learn that too. We got to love ourselves. We got to accept ourselves, our flaws, and find confidence in it. Honestly, I feel like I'm at that point now where I feel better with my looks because I lost a lot of weight. And I've kept it off. It's been struggling right now to get the last so many other pounds off. Another 40 pounds if I could take away. So difficult. But one thing I can say is that I can see the difference when I made that change for myself because I had to. It wasn't like, oh, I'm going to finally do something about it. No, I got a wake-up call. And then I changed. But after that change, yeah, there are certain sacrifices I had to make. But one of the things is that right now I need to go ahead and feel like I can see that women don't look at me in a disgusting look anymore when they saw I was just so fat and grossly overweight and just not taking care of myself. Right. But now I'm at the point where, okay, I finally got myself to where I'm at. But right now, the way society is today, the modern feminism that we have, yeah, I don't feel like trying to approach. And then even if I do approach and I do get a good response, I'm afraid that it's not even going to be about me. Like the woman will not be interested in me so much that it'll be about what I can provide, what I can offer. Because it's not even going to be like a balance of like, okay, I like you and also like you taking me out. No, it's what I provide, what I put out. And the few times I've actually tracked down girls that I was interested in, that's exactly what happened. And I got myself out of there. Like, I didn't even try to go and get myself even close. Dating apps aren't going to make any difference. At this point, I've been off dating apps for a few years, and I still don't feel any interest or any kind of initiative to do that. Look, like I said, if you're going to do anything, take off the dating apps, go to the sugar daddy sites. You're going to do better. You're actually going to get a better response. You will find more women that are more appealing to you. And trust me, they're not all out there gold digging. And maybe you can work your way into talking them out of it. I really believe that. That's not going to say for all these women. But I will say this is that the one thing you will find, there are plenty of women that are on there that will say they are looking for a relationship. Or they left a bitter relationship and that's why they're on there. But you get a chance to respond better to these women because I just feel like they're going to bring a different version of themselves. The barrier to entry is high for guys to get on these sites. So if there's a possibility to put a bigger barrier, another obstacle in place so that they can protect themselves in some way from predatory or, scheming or crappy guys that are going to go on the dating apps and just be the same damaged people. The thing is, damaged people are on dating apps for the most part. I can't tell anyone that I know that has been on a dating app lately to go and meet up. If it's for a hookup, sure. But it's not for anything else. And the dating apps we were talking about last year, all of them going premium. Tinder giving you your $500 tier and offering matchmaking services. Same thing for Hinge. Same thing for Bumble. Like, it's ridiculous. At this point, last year I talked about reestablishing the dating game. Getting back to a dating game again, let's see if we can make that happen. Okay, fell on deaf ears. This year, I would recommend dropping dating apps altogether. Just get rid of it. And just keep an eye out for someone that's actually catching you with their body language. You see somebody that catches attention, I mean, you want to talk and see what happens, but not much else is going to happen. You're just going to say to yourself, well, you don't know where the girl comes from and what she's been told and how much society has played on her to expect to go out there. One of the things I really noticed is that with some of the girls that I met a beautiful girl in Georgia, aspiring lawyer. And the way she came across, she was said, you should do this when you go on the website. And it was all about basically making her act like a fin dog, just ask for money. And then I just helped to reposition her and just, validate her and praise her because the picture she put up, not flattering, but when I got to see her in a different way and I saw the pictures that I asked her to send me, just her, throw some clothes on. Let me see what you look like. And I saw a different side to her and I'm like, wow, you're beautiful. And just gave her a better feeling of confidence and empowerment and just made her feel wonderful about herself. Because, she didn't say anything on the website about what she's doing for a living and what she's aspiring to be. But she got off the side of us after that. She got off the website because she was like, no, it's not for me. It's like, I feel cheap and I don't feel right about it. It's not something I want to be. So she gave it a shot, didn't feel good about it, didn't feel good about the other responses she got from other guys on there, but had a good interaction with me. And I just hope that for her, she doesn't feel like she needs to go and change herself or settle or try to go ahead and look for some kind of concessions that will make up for the relationships that have not been there or why she's single in the first place. So I don't think it was about her. But it's part of the fact that, a lot of guys out there are also just going to take advantage of, well, as women are going to just continue to be a little bit more interested in money, the ones that are left that are single, for the most part, will not say all, but many, then what are guys supposed to do? Guys will go along and just decide, well, we'll just do situationships. We'll just keep you at a distance and we'll hook up when we hook up. And if it becomes pay to play, then it is. But that's where we're at now. Guys would just rather just keep it where there's not any kind of commitment at all, any kind of investment. It's not even a commitment anymore. It's an investment or an arrangement that you don't even think you're in, but you realize you're into because you realize the woman is just there just for what you get for her and what she gets from you. And yeah, social media amplifies this too. I saw today another story about a girl that was upset because the guy decided to go and take her out the subway. And I'm like, well, there's probably something about that caused it to happen. And here it is. So it's a story that happened a few weeks ago, but it was a girl that was upset because this guy decided to go ahead and take her out. And she was expected to go and be taken out to a better dinner, but she was taking a subway. So we'll go ahead and play that back.
Out on a date to Subway.
Yes.
Do you not have money for something nicer? I thought we were going to go do something else, not this.
I do have money. I just don't have high faith in you.
Why would you say that?
I feel like you're in it for the money and not for me.
Of course I'm in it for the money.
See, that's why I brought you to Subway. To see what your true character was.
You wanted to see what my true character was by taking me to a rundown fucking place like this. I got dressed this morning. I got up and I got ready and I took a shower and I did all the basics just to come somewhere nicer. I thought we were going to go to Red Lobster, get margaritas, do something other than this. And you used the app.
I'm sorry, honey. I just did not have high...
Do you live by yourself?
Yes, I do.
And where do you work?
Papa John's.
That makes sense of why we would come here. Let me guess, you're a delivery driver?
Yes.
Pitiful. How old are you again?
I'm 22.
And you wanted to date me?
Yes.
You know, I don't think you should be worried about dating. I think you should be worried about your light bill. Because clearly you couldn't take me somewhere nicer, so I'm not interested.
Well, sucks for you.
So there's more to it. And, you know, it's sad, but could very well happen to you. You could have a girl that could be just like that. How many stories did we amplify last year about girls that went out? Because there was a girl that went out and had 36 oysters, was it? Was that what it was? At a restaurant? And, you know, the drinks and how much did she spend? Obviously, we still hear those stories. That still comes out and happens. But then what happens is you also have the delusion of women thinking they're going to go out. This one, Red Lobster for margaritas. And then when women will go onto these dating apps, that's what they think they're going to get. That's what they're going to offer. I mean, is the guy even saying he's going to offer that to her in the description? Like, that's the other part you're going to ask for. So there were a couple of stories that I have talked about dating app fatigue over the last few weeks. Right before Christmas, SS Magazine talked about that. They talked to an expert about that in particular. We talk about zombie dating, where you just get endless text threads. And being frustrated with apps putting useful features behind paywalls, yet unwilling to pay for a once free service and getting ghosted at never before seen rates. And then they refer to dating hygiene, using apps more mindfully, tracking what's happening with your matches and dates, and eliminating go nowhere connections. Because you can need to choose when and how you engage with the apps. Turn off notifications so you're not constantly being hijacked by the dopamine of a like or a message. Unmatch and disengage from text threads that don't materialize into a date within the first week. Right. Psychology Today has talked about that recently. And they talked about a recent report in Forbes that nearly 3 in 10 U.S. adults report using a dating site or app. There used to be a lot more before. Younger generations who grew up with smartphones tend to find asynchronous communication far easier to navigate than face-to-face interactions. They may prefer texting or sending voice messages over real-time conversations. And real-time interactions can be anxiety-provoking as they require quick decision-making, boundary setting, and the ability to interpret both internal and external cues on the spot. See, the other thing, too, is that if you're doing texts, I can tell you this for a fact that, in the time I've been going through and doing text messaging in myself, one thing I know as I do myself all the time is I don't answer a text immediately. It might be 5, 10, 2 hours, a half a day, or the next day for me to even answer. Because sometimes it's like an email. I'm just hesitant. I'm procrastinating. You don't want to call me, but if you called me and you wanted to get certain answers to questions, you want to learn about me, then you can go and take the initiative because I give up my number. But nobody does that. So we go through the trouble of the filter. You strategize when you're going to go and send a message. You decide, I'm not going to answer right now. You want to think of a good answer. And sometimes when you go and put on a good answer, or you just put on an answer, it'd be much easier if you had somebody on the spot and you're able to get them to confront and answer what it would be as almost honestly as you can, because they wouldn't have a chance to go and really think up something that could be nefarious or deleterious or suspicious. But that's not going to happen. So many young people report dating apps alleviating the stress and pressure of making a first impression and getting the opportunity to meet people outside of their daily social circles. But spending long hours on the apps, swiping through profiles like an online shopping catalog can increase loneliness and make the experience feel impersonal and unsatisfying. And of course, we have toxic dating patterns, ghosting, love bombing, breadcrumbing, catfishing. We talked about all in this program. And experiences can leave people feeling hurt, shatter their sense of self-worth, make them lose faith in healthy romantic relationships. Because some people are willing not to go ahead and just let that go. When it's not good for you, just drop it. You can't. And dating apps can also create deception and dishonesty. Users misrepresenting themselves, giving false information about their careers, relationship status, hobbies, because everybody can just make stuff up as they go along. But when I think about for women, I've got to put this point across, because this is true. So guys, I want to ask you this question. When you've met a girl on a dating app, how often, out of every 10 girls you've met, what's the percentage of women that you have found when you met them in person looked better than the pictures they put up? To me, I think it happens all the time. I want to say 8 or 9 out of every 10 girls that I met on a date on a dating app, when I met them in person, they looked better than I thought. I had a better impression than when I met them. And we went together and went out, and I got to see her, always got a better impression. Always better than I had a blind impression as well. But really, if you just have pictures of a girl and you see them, you're going to get a better impression, I guarantee it, when you meet them in person. So why go through the trouble and try to meet a girl on a dating app where you're not going to get the best pictures of her? You're also going to catch her at points where you'll find her, if she's putting out a picture, it might be from a year ago or 2 years ago, things like that. And it'll be a different representation of her. It'll be how she looked for a previous boyfriend, or when she was trying to get into a relationship, or she was with a situationship, whatever it is. But she was involved with somebody. But she will not be exactly that way for you. But the thing is, at least you'll see a better interpretation of her if you met her in person. And you'd feel more of a connection if you could hear the girl's voice. And have her talking to you, her saying your name, you're saying her name, and actually expressing things to each other. Instead of all the words that make a woman feel a particular emotion or feeling or whatever it is. Because guys, I'm pretty sure if you get certain things you get read to, it don't feel the same. It's not the same as when a girl says it in person or says it over the phone. Wouldn't that be enough reason to go ahead and just drop the dating apps? I think so. So I hope that people will go ahead and take my advice here and just consider it. Give it a moment and just kind of consider what it will be like to be able to go and do that. if you can. If you can find your way to pull yourself away from those dating apps, get rid of them altogether. Uninstall them right now. Uninstall all of them. Get yourself out there and meet somebody. Get on the phone. Meet them in person. Hook up. Maybe something good comes out of it. And maybe down the line, you'll get to go ahead and be in a relationship where you can be depraved and debaucherous.